Welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to unpack this topic with you. Think about this for a second. Every single person on Earth has one of only a few specific blood types. Yet, those tiny, microscopic genetic differences in our blood can literally mean the difference between life and death in an emergency room. Your blood type isn't just some random letter printed on a medical card in your wallet. It's a fundamental part of your biology that dictates who can donate blood to you, who you can save, and exactly how your immune system functions. Today, we're breaking all of that down.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap. We'll start at the microscopic level with blood types and your body's antibody security system. Then we'll meet the universal donors and recipients. After that, we're going to zoom out to look at the fascinating history of how we even discovered these blood groups in the first place. And finally, we'll wrap it up by looking at the real-world impact and just how common your specific blood type actually is.
Section 1. What are blood types? Let's jump right into the foundational biology that makes your blood entirely unique to you.
So to really understand blood types, you first have to understand antigens. Basically, an antigen is a tiny genetic marker sitting right on the surface of your red blood cells. You can think of them almost like little microscopic name tags. The entire classification system we use for blood, the ABO system, depends entirely on the presence of just two specific markers, the A antigen and the B antigen.
Let's look at how this plays out in practice. It's actually super logical how the presence, or total absence of these markers, creates our four main blood groups. If your red blood cells only wear the A name tag, you have type A blood. If they only have the B marker, you're type B. Now, if genetics handed you both markers, you proudly have type AB blood. But what if your red blood cells have an absolutely blank surface, with neither the A nor the B antigen? Well, that total absence means you have type O blood. It's an elegant, simple genetic difference, but it carries massive medical implications.
But wait, there's one more layer to this whole thing. You've probably noticed that people don't just say they're type A. They say they're A positive or A negative. That's because of a second marker called the Rh factor. It operates on a very simple binary. It's either present on your red blood cells, making you positive, or it's totally absent, making you negative. Adding this second marker to the mix basically doubles our categories, giving us the 8 specific combinations we see on medical charts all over the world.
Section 2. The antibody attack. Now that we know how blood is categorized, we need to talk about our immune system defense and really the central conflict of this explainer, the terrifying medical emergency of a mismatched blood transfusion.
So the absolutely crucial point here is understanding what antibodies do. Antibodies are proteins floating around in your blood plasma. Their entire job is to act as the ultimate security guards. They strictly attack any antigen they do not recognize as your own. Now, I really want to emphasize this. This is not some random chaotic reaction. This is a highly calculated, built-in safety check where your biology fiercely protects its own territory from foreign invaders.
Here's the dramatic step-by-step of what happens if things go wrong. Let's say a patient with type A blood mistakenly receives a transfusion of type B blood. Immediately, the plasma antibodies in that type A patient spot those unfamiliar B antigens. They sound the alarm and attack. This causes the newly introduced blood cells to clump together in a very dangerous and, unfortunately, sometimes fatal reaction. This exact biological response is why blood typing and cross-matching at the hospital are never, ever just formalities. They are absolute biological necessities.
Section 3. Universal donors and recipients. Let's shift the tone from that biological conflict to the amazing universal heroes that actually resolve these medical emergencies.
And this brilliantly illustrates the incredible extremes of the blood type spectrum. On one side, we have the universal donor, O negative. Remember those name tags? Well, O-negative blood has no A antigens, no B antigens, and no Rh factor. Because it has absolutely zero markers, it sneaks right past the security guards. It triggers no immune reaction in anyone. On the complete opposite end of things, we have the universal recipient, AB positive. This blood has all the markers, A, B, and Rh. Because its security system is totally used to seeing all of them, it can safely accept all blood types without attacking.
The real-world application of this is just staggering. O-negative is the blood type hospitals instinctively reach for in dire emergencies when there's literally no time to test a trauma patient's blood. When seconds count, O-negative is the ultimate biological skeleton key that can safely save anyone's life.
Let's move to Section 4, Discovering the Blood Groups, and take a look at the historical timeline. Because for a very, very long time, doctors were completely in the dark here.
Before the 1900s, doctors had absolutely no idea why some transfusions saved lives and others were mysteriously fatal. They were essentially attempting transfusions completely blind. But in 1901, an Austrian physician named Karl Landsteiner changed history. By mixing blood samples in his lab, he noticed that some combinations clumped together while others stayed perfectly smooth. He systematically mapped out the A, B, and O groups. It was a monumental breakthrough that earned him the Nobel Prize in 1930. And it's truly amazing to think that, after the Rh factor was finally identified in 1940, this completed the exact same blood typing system that we still rely on to save millions of lives today.
Section 5. How common is your blood? Let's bring this explainer right back to the present day and look at some truly fascinating demographic statistics here in the United States.
Now, what's really interesting about these numbers is the sheer dominance of just two blood types. O positive completely rules, making up around 38% of the population. A positive is right behind it at 34%. And then, a massive drop-off, with B positive sitting way down at roughly 9%.
Contrast those big majorities with this tiny, tiny number, less than 1%. That is the percentage of the U.S. population walking around with AB negative blood. It is incredibly rare, which really highlights just how diverse human biology can be and how incredibly difficult it can be for hospitals to find specific blood matches for patients with these rarer types.
And, that distribution isn't just uniform everywhere. It varies heavily by genetics and region. For instance, O positive tends to be even more prevalent among Hispanic and Black populations in the U.S., while A positive is especially common among individuals of Central and Eastern European descent. This beautifully illustrates exactly why blood donation centers are constantly pleading for diverse donor populations. To keep those rare combinations available on the shelves, we absolutely need donors from every background imaginable.
Which brings us to why knowing your type and actually going out to donate is so incredibly crucial. When you donate a pint of blood, hospitals don't just use it as one big bag. They brilliantly split that single donation into 3 vital components: red cells, blood plasma, and platelets. And each of those can be sent off to treat a completely different medical emergency.
Think about that for a second. That means your single hour sitting comfortably in a donation chair doesn't just save one person's life. It can literally help save up to 3 separate patients. It is hands down one of the most efficient, impactful things you can possibly do for your community.
So, I want to leave you with this thought. A brilliant medical discovery made in a lab way back in 1901 gives you the power to save 3 lives today. Knowing your blood type isn't just fun trivia, it's a critical tool for survival. So, do you know your blood type? If you do, I would love for you to drop it down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe for more clear visual breakdowns of the science that shapes our world, and please, consider finding a local center and donating blood if you are able to. Someone out there is waiting for exactly your type. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.